Yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, so of course Rick Santorum had to come out and take a shit on his legacy.
The Kim Davis issue, so much chatter about that. And watching the secular programs like The View and others where they are just crucifying her, making fun of the way she looks, and it's just unbelievable to me how she has been assaulted.
You know, it's interesting how we admire people for their courage to stand up against the institutions. I mean, the left loves to highlight, the mayor of San Francisco when he issued gay marriage certificates, even though it was against the law. Oh, what a courageous and heroic figure they are. People who rightfully in the civil rights movement stood up against an unjust law and said, we're not going to go along with something that is morally unjust. Mm-hmm. But when they're on the other side, all of a sudden you're crazy, you're a kook, and you're to be ridiculed and made fun of. And Kim Davis is doing something that is courageous. She's following her convictions, and we have a law that's an unjust law. Martin Luther King said in his famous letter from a Birmingham jail, there are just laws and unjust laws. And how do we know whether a law is unjust? And he said, because it doesn't follow what the moral law is, or God's law, or natural law, as he goes on to say. And clearly, the laws on marriage don't follow the natural law. They don't follow God's law. And so, Martin Luther King's viewpoint, he would have said, this is a law that you have an obligation to resist. And that's what Kim Davis is doing. She's standing up and saying that I'm not going to follow an unjust law. Now, that's a courageous thing to do in a society today. But to me, it's something that should be applauded for her standing for her convictions.
So Kim Davis, who refused to give out marriage licenses to gays in a county in Kentucky, is following in the footsteps of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Please stop talking. I'm going to need you to stop talking. Somebody said this on Twitter, and they were spot on. They said that these guys truly believe that they're the next civil rights movement. You have Kim Davis, who really believes that she's the next Rosa Parks, when in reality, she's the bus driver who was barking at Rosa Parks, saying, "You gotta get to the back of the bus." So the real Rosa Parks, the real civil rights movement, is the LGBT rights movement. They are fighting for more rights. Just like in the civil rights movement, they were fighting for more rights for black people. We're fighting for more rights for gay people. They're fighting for equal rights for black people. We're fighting for equal rights for gay people. But they managed to flip the situation in their head, and their rationalization tactics are incredible. I mean, you can see the intellectual jujitsu going on in their mind as they're talking. He's like, well, I think we're the ones, and Kim Davis is walking in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s footsteps because she's standing up for God's law and the biblical law, and you can't just sit there when unjust laws take over. Yeah, but there's a trillion problems with what you're saying, Rick, but one of the most important ones is biblical law is polygamy. God's law is polygamy. And do you really want to use biblical values to try to define how we run the system today? You do know there's parts of the Bible where two daughters get their dad drunk and then rape him because they want to get impregnated. I mean, that's even beyond an episode of Maury or Jerry Springer and how fucked up it is. In the Bible, people sell their daughters off into sex slavery. Biblical values! But it's stupid to want to run society on biblical values. But even if you do, biblical marriage is polygamy. He's like, natural law, God's law, biblical law. That's what she's fighting for, except she's not. Well, I guess in a weird way she is, because she, of course, got married and then remarried and then remarried and then remarried again. And actually, that's not true, because you can't get divorced in the Bible and you can't get remarried. So Kim Davis actually is sinning by the same law that she's judging gay people for. And you know how she rationalizes that, right? She goes, no, it's okay. I asked God for forgiveness. So then by your own logic, if a gay couple comes in and they want to get married and they say in front of you, God, look, my bad. I know I'm sinning here. My apologies. Wish I wasn't gay, but I'm gay. I don't mean to do it, but I'm going to do it. And then you get married. Well, it's all good. Kim Davis is on her 27th marriage. And she says, as long as I say I'm sorry to God, then I should be allowed to get married. Well, then why are you blocking gay people from getting married, but you're not, preventing yourself from getting married for the 812th time. No, there's no logic. It makes no sense. And the bottom line is, guys, you are the bad guys here. You are Bull Connor here. You are the people who say, no, I don't want equal rights for them. Is it really that difficult to wrap your mind around this? Two people love each other. They're consenting adults. Nobody else is getting hurt. They want to get married. How can you stand up against that? Apparently, we have our answer, religious brainwashing. But my point is, even by religious brainwashing, their ideology makes no sense because biblical marriage is polygamy, and you're not allowed to get remarried 800 times, and Kim Davis did. So spare me your fucking moralizing, and spare me your besmirching of the great legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You're not fucking worthy. The people who are more in agreement with that philosophy and that movement, the civil rights movement, is the LGBT rights movement today. And for the record, we ain't done yet. So what? We got gay marriage. That's a fantastic thing. But we still have laws in about 27 states where you can get fired just for being gay. And we still have a situation in place where over 80 countries around the world have it so it's illegal to even be gay. And then I think over 10 countries still give you the death penalty if you're gay. So there's still a lot of work to do. And it requires leadership. It requires a civil rights-like movement. But I don't expect Rick Santorum or Kim Davis to understand that or get that. They're going to argue on the side of the theocrats and the crazy people and the Muslim fundamentalists and act like they're the moral leaders when they're in fact the opposite.